go through that. Okay, all right. Why this our search and rescue personal know all this survival skill. Basically, SAR responder can become a victim as well, can become a patient as well. So this is recorded in United States. Of course, we don't have much data in Malaysia, in our region as well. Europe have some data. I forgot to put in. Sorry about that. If you guys need about some European statistics, I can give you later on. Okay, so I think the teacher also mentioned more or less the kind of figure 65,000 actually. People incident happened in SAR, which is the patient, the responder itself. The responder itself also get into a problem. Okay, and then about 78,000 people individual SAR individual incidents. And then the fatality is quite high. Okay. All right. Another thing, so to just update this as well, from the last risk management conference which is held in the United States, especially the people that joined that one, the conference is from the outdoor operators, some militaries, and all these bomber fire departments and so on. But mainly the outdoor operators. They find out about 85% of the outdoor instructor also into trouble, into problems when they try to save their clients at the time. Then they also got into trouble. So the percentage is very high. And then what they find out is because of the outdoor instructor also, they always do the same activity again and again, same familiar places, location, same activity. So their risk tolerance is become lower and lower. So suddenly something happens to the client, when they try to respond, they also got into trouble. So for people out there, not just outdoor instructor, we also whoever that involved in your regular job, so maybe try to change the location, maybe take a break, ask other people to take over and so on. So we have different kind of mentality every time we go back to the same place, so we feel fresh and we will alert about risk. Okay? If not, if you're too used to it, our place, the risk tolerance, the risk level become very, very low. All right, most of the time they have, any other injury, not just sprain ankle, a lot of other injuries as well. All right, next thing I want to introduce this is developed by our Malaysian itself, Malaysia Instructor Bushcraft Survival Association. Okay, it's developed by the panel, including myself inside, Mr. Mahmud, Mr. Anwar, Saiful, and Sheikh Ramzi. So we actually come up with this idea, of course, it's also based on the overall idea of the survival first, and from there we break it more details. All right, so we introduce this to our programs, to our instructors as well. So this, we actually use this as our base or framework to all our teaching. All right, so this triangle, I think you guys are very familiar with. We have shelter, we have water, we have fire. This is the main elements, and of course we come to the very immediate on the communication, first aid and water, and then something that urgent. We have to look up as navigation, SOS, or evacuation plan as well. And then the needs come later, not so urgent, okay? Like water and fire, all this thing. Of course, we use the stop E. Okay, actually, we have in MISA, we use stop 3F. 3F is flight freezer. It's actually part of the evacuation process. I think the teacher also mentioned about the slide as well. I'm not going to go through more detail on this, just to let you know our society have this protocols. And actually, just for information, we recognize throughout the world now, especially with Siwa, our bushcraft expert like Dave Canterbury, Ray Mayers, they also acknowledge this, and Bear Grylls as well. They also acknowledge this as well. Okay, it's a good practices, and there are more things to come up on this standards protocol. All right, back to this. Okay, we heard a lot about stop, the rule of three and stop. So we actually in WAMS itself we integrate another E there. E is more to the evacuation, because after we plan, stop, think, observe, and plan. Once you plan what you need to, so we need to execute up our plan, and then of course after execute, so we need to revise back again. Is it this plan works or not? The execution work properly or not? So this in WAMS we integrate the E, because for us execute is quite important, because let's say execute plan of treatment, example, execute plan of rescue or search and so on. That's very important. I think everyone know about this rule of three survival priority. So I don't need to talk much on this. 3 minutes, but without air, if you have air obstruction, you can survive without shelter in 3 hours, and so on, water and food for 3 days and 3 weeks. Okay. So we in WAMS we just like I mentioned, we add on the E on it inside the stop. All right, first priority, okay, this also depends on the situation, okay. First priority, most urgent, yes, is shelter, okay. In another situation, we also need to think about maybe communication. You might call first to, let's say you have a means of communication, call, and it helps. But if you don't have, yes, shelter is very important. Why? Because our body need to keep a core body temperature within 3 hours in harsh conditions, from wind, from rain, as you know, we have a few cases happens in our country as well. I think a lot, it's not properly documented, okay. The reason why in Mount Liang and Mount Kinabalu and so on, okay. So shelter is important for the SAR personnel. You need to know how to set up, find a place, good place, okay, to set up, and then you need to do your improvise. Certain things, let's say you bring some cans with you or flash with you, then okay, you can use that. But if you don't have, you need to improvise using materials available in your situation. Okay. All right. This thing can happen quite a lot. Sprain ankle, all these things are doing when you do all these things. And then because heat environment, we need to be shaded from our sun. Now it's very hot in the lower land, and then very cold in the upper side. Besides knowing how to, you must know how to set up shelter. You must also have this extra skill for you to set up a shelter, from rope skills, knife skill, saw skill handling, so that you know what you can get and how you pack in the kind of situation. Everyone still hear me, right? Just in case. Anyone? Hello? I don't lost you guys. Everyone okay? Give me some.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, second priority and third priority, water and fire. Okay, this is very important. Water, 3 days, as you know, you can collect from a lot of areas. In our rainforest, we have abundance of water. A lot of places we can get water, from the vegetation, from the bamboo, from the vine itself, and then if you're in mountain area, in the jungle area, we still have quite a lot of water source around. Okay, and of course from the rain in our morning. Of course, we definitely want to avoid setting water. Okay, of course, water also the best. Of course, you can boil it. That would be good. If you cannot, you don't have the means of fire to boil it. Chemicals, iodine or chlorine, you purify it, filter and purify it together. Combo is the best. If you have UV light devices, why not? Definitely, it's good to use. Okay, water, of course, as you know, is for to avoid dehydration. Okay, and for climate. That's important. Fire, of course, to warm and mix signal as well. Okay, signaling, of course, is a moral psychology anchor, because this is really important. Fire, it really boosts up your morale. Okay, carry multiple types of fire devices. From lighter to waterproof matches to fire steel. All sealed in the bag. Always carry. If you have extra skill, you know how to do bow drill, all these things. This is not easy. Okay, this is not easy. You require a good wood to do that. And the main thing is the tinder. The tinder is you need to be a very, very dry tinder. So in our environment, rainforest especially, it's quite difficult, I say, to find a very good dry tinder on the spot. Let's say you are there and you want to go and get it now. Tinder, it's not that easy. You can't get really dry tinder at that moment. Okay, even though a few friends are experts in Malaysia, they also struggle. When they want to demo, so they still need to keep few days dry in the hot sun before they dare to do demo on you guys how to start fire. If you ask you to take it immediately, it's quite hard. Unless you have one friend from Indonesia, it's crazy. He can just walk in and then do a bow drill or whatever. The tinder. Actually, the tinder itself also dry. It's just the method only. You can start the fire, but the tinder itself also quite dry. That's important. All right, as fire is also we can do as a signal. It's one of the signals that we can use to mix smoke signals. Okay, and that's important. Extra skill needed to know how to start fire and water. We of course need to learn how to start fire. Navigation is important also, because we need to look for this water source. Example, we need to know where we walk, which direction, how far we walk, all these things. And then signaling, we need to know how to do signaling, mainly from ground to air signal. Example, one very easy example. In our rainforest, because it's so dense, the trees are so high up, so dense. Okay, a lot of trees, a lot of canopies. So if you just set up fire underneath the canopy, Okay, when smoke go up, it will burst up before you reach outside of the tree canopy. So for people from far, say from the air or from far, you can't really tell is it a mist or clouds or whatever. Okay, most of the time when we smoke it's white smoke come out. Unless you put some rubber or whatever, it becomes black smoke and slightly different case. But even though that also once before reaching the canopy also already burst up, so you really can't see the color so much, especially the white one. Okay, so what you really can do is one way we advise to do, and we've been practicing this as well. Trying to look for big tree, tall big tree, okay, tall, very tall big tree above canopy if you can, and then underneath the tall tree itself, okay, the tree trunk itself, you start fire there and make more smoke with green grass, green leaf. Okay, so the smoke will travel along the trunk. It will follow the trunk and goes up after the canopy. So people from far, from air, you can see that it's more obvious. It's like a little bone atom kind of coming up, the smoke. Okay, so it's more obvious rather than we start anywhere down underneath with a lot of grass, a lot of small tree and this and that. So you will see that kind of impact. Alright. Okay, next one, of course, navigation signaling is very, very important as well. So this is where you need to let people know where you are when you get lost. Okay, of course, the sun start after somebody reported. Maybe after 6 hours, 12 hours, somebody say, hey, this person is not coming out, and all this. It will take time for the search and rescue people to mobilize and then activate and then do the search and rescue. Okay, so unless you use like InReach or Spots, you press, let's say you yourself have it, you press the SOS button, the response time is around 3 to 5 hours. The rescue will come. I have involved in this particular mission before. It's organizations, international SOS. Basically, they get a call from clients, and then I got responded. Quickly go mobilize in 1 hour, in helicopter, in airport, flew by helicopter, and then you reach there, your coordinates, go in and pick up the clients. So it's roughly about 3-5 hours kind of duration when you reach to the client side, to the victim side. So that is fast, and you yourself have it. You subscribe and then you press it. But if like other cases, very late, you in the group at the end of the journey, you find out you lost a pet, your friends, or all this thing, it takes more time. But of course, in our case, what we do is navigation and signaling actually is very important. Signaling, when you are in the survival mode, okay, you need to also decide shelter, fire, water. You also need to prepare your signal to let people know you're lost. Let people know where you are, for example. So you need to prepare yourself either from a visual signal, your mirror, you have laser light, and a flashlight, whistles, okay, all these things. You need to activate. You can't, unless you are staying in a group, you might activate faster. Let's say you hide for a while, you just off trail, go and pee in the jungle trail, and suddenly you're like, oh shit, I'm lost. Okay, so you can whistle quickly. That is a priority rather than you want to be priority of shelter. But that is a priority. But if you lost for slightly longer, your shelter and other things is priority. Okay, so yes, so you need to alert yourself where you are. Okay, by using all these mechanisms, fire, smoke, audio, visual, all these things that can let people know where you are. Or if you can also drop your bags there, not the bag, certain things, your equipment that you don't use, or write your name there, people know you're there. You be very good. Or put some, if you learn more techniques about jungles, signal and sign, you can put the sign so people know where you are as well. So that's very important. Navigation is very crucial. Okay, even though people have compass, sometimes they don't know how to use it. So you need to learn compass. Compass best works come with the map together. So use that maps. And nowadays, of course, we have a lot of apps and applications in our phone. We can download maps. We can use that as well. Of course, another thing also you have backup battery and so on. So do that. So learning navigation from the basic ones very important for beginners, and then for advanced people they can learn more things inside. Not just knowing to look at north, south, east, west, that kind of thing. So you also need to know your pace, your the terrain sensation, your observation skill, and the pace, how long you walk, how many pace you walk, what kind of distance you walk, that kind of thing. If you can capture that, it will be helpful in your navigation. Because nowadays we have GPS, phones, of course all these can be preloaded offline maps as well. Can be very useful. You can do some watch as well. Okay. Extra skill for this fire navigation and craft. Alright, SARS Team Survival Kit, this is a 5 Cs, is based on quite a lot of other institutions, so they use this, especially the staff personnel, they carry this. I remember when in Alaska doing my training also, we need to carry all this with us. It's always with us, it's not in our big bag, it's really like in our body also called a pouch, or chest bag example, which is if you throw away our main backpack, that this particular thing is still with us, this 5 C stuff always with us. It's like stick to you, it's like part of the organ. Okay, so very important, we need to split our emergency blankets. If you can bring some tarps or PV small one, we put a rain jacket, all this to cover ourselves. Okay, cover ourselves, even though maybe we can use for patients. So the combustion is our fire starting things. Okay, lighter, matches, fire rods, any methods, at least 2 and above. Okay, I see it. Of course, the fire rod it can be used when it's from the water also, it can use it. You just wipe it up and then you just strike. Striking is one thing, you can get a spark. Your next to catch that is the most important. It's a tinder. The tinder must be sealed nicely, dry, and you can use it from time to time. You need to take it out and use it because in our environment, our humid temperature, humid climate, even though you put inside a seal bag, also after a while you use it, you will be exposed in hot and cold, hot to a room temperature, example. So the condensation can happen. So you can wet the tinder as well. So you need to check all these things. Container always brings some. I definitely prefer metal bottles or cups because you can boil water. You use plastic. Yes, it has a method to boil on plastic, but you maybe use 1 time, 2 times, and it's not nice. So water metals, you can keep hot water also in the same time for longer journey when you want to use. It's safer. Okay, cutting tools, okay, for you to prep your shelter, example, do your navigation, do your signaling, all these things, you might need to use that. So cutting tools is important. It can be a small little knife. I carry from young myself, I have my Swiss Army knife with me and my Moran knife with me, Moran knife with me, so I always carry these 2. I always have my 2 multi tools from the Swiss Army, and then my little longer blade is from my Moran knife. It's cheap and it's durable, it's very good to use. Okay, no fancy. Okay, then yes, you must have your first aid kit as well. First aid kit as well, this is also important. Okay, and then cottage, this is ropes. Rope is very useful to make shelter, to spleen, and then to make anchors and so on. Okay, normally we suggested about 10 meters, about 4 to 5 mm is sufficient enough. Okay, still 4 to 5 mm paracords or ropes, the 501 can still hold your weight, it's not a problem. Also carry headlights, extra battery, whistles, signal mirror. If you subscribe to Satellite Messenger or InReach, Spots, PLB, right, you need to have it. It's not in your big bags, in video, in your pouch, in your chest bag, example, video. Okay, a water purification tablet is very important, and then some food, MRE, meal ready to eat video. That is crucial. So I always carry this sweet potato with me. Meal ready to eat. I just peel it out and then you can eat your steam sweet potato, which is high calorie. It gives you very good. Sometimes last me for a whole day. Just a small little sweet potato. Okay, this is crucial. You need video. If you drop your bags, this will save you. Okay, cannot put in your main bag. So I remember when I was in service in Alaska, we carry this with us. We have a simulation, we need to throw our bag because we chased by bear, that kind of simulation. Then we carry this for 2 days. We survive with our survival kits. Okay, so that is crucial. Alright, last thing, I think this is very crucial. Okay, the skill that you need to have is the mindset. So the mindset is to the willing to survive is very crucial. Okay, this is if you get panic, you definitely have wrong decision. You wasted all your energies as well. So you get more mental problem also at the end of the day. Okay, so this is you must have in your mindset. Okay, I'm saying. Okay, alright. Takeaway on this lecture 3. Of course, apply stop E. You have additional E there to execute on E. Immediately when you get lost, you feel I should play to the driver. So stop walking, sit down, do your stop E. Okay, and then shelter first, depends on your situation. Okay, your water, your fire, your signals, and then mindset itself. Maybe the mindset need to be at the first priority before you go in all this, before you start to stop. Alright,